The controversy erupted on March 3rd when Park Bom posted a handwritten letter alleging that her infamous 2014 Adderall scandal was a manufactured cover-up to protect her 2NE1 bandmate Sandara Park from drug allegations, a claim that instantly blew the lid off a decade-old wound. While Bom insisted she was being scapegoated for her prescribed ADD medication, the public reaction was immediately complicated by her recent history of erratic behavior, including a bizarre 4.5 quadrillion won lawsuit and an obsession with actor Lee Min-ho, leading many to dismiss her explosive accusations as symptoms of mental instability rather than a whistleblower's truth. The fallout was swift and brutal. Sandara issued a cold denial, unfollowed Bom, and effectively severed their decade-long bond, while other members subtly picked sides, turning a once-beloved sisterhood into a public war zone. Ultimately, the situation leaves us staring at a tragic deadlock where a potential corporate conspiracy is overshadowed by legitimate concerns for an idol's mental health, proving that regardless of the truth, the industry's silence and the public cynicism have already destroyed what was left of 2NE1's legacy. To understand the sheer weight of this moment, you have to rewind the tape back to the original nightmare. In 2014, Park Bom was at the peak of her powers with 2NE1, but a report from the Seoul Daily Sports exploded onto the scene, alleging that she had attempted to smuggle amphetamines into South Korea. The details were messy. 82 pills intercepted by customs at Incheon International Airport, sent via FedEx from the United States. The public reaction was brutal. In a country with incredibly strict drug laws, the headlines painted her as an addict, but the legal reality was far more nuanced. The case was actually closed in 2010, long before the media firestorm in 2014, with prosecutors deciding not to indict her. It was established that the medication was for her treatment of attention deficit disorder, a condition she had been diagnosed with while living in the U.S. Yet, the court of public opinion doesn't operate on legal technicalities. The stigma stuck, and the narrative that she had gotten away with it because of her celebrity status festered for years. Yang Hyun-suk, the founder of YG Entertainment, tried to douse the flames at the time with a lengthy blog post explaining that she was taking the medication to cope with the trauma of losing a close friend, and that she didn't realize the import laws. But for many, it was too little too late. The damage was done. Bom retreated from the spotlight, and 2NE1 eventually disbanded, leaving a wound in the K-pop community that never truly healed. For years, the narrative remained. Bom had a drug scandal, she struggled, and the group paid the price. But according to that handwritten letter posted in March, that wasn't the real story at all. Bom wrote with a desperate intensity, claiming, "I am not sick, I am an ADD patient." She wanted to clarify that first and foremost, that her struggle was medical, not criminal. But then came the twist. She alleged that the medication known as Adderall was turned into a scandalous drug, narrative specifically to distract from Sandara Park, who she claimed was the one actually involved with illegal substances. The claim was staggering. Sandara Park, often called the vampire of K-pop for her ageless visuals and squeaky clean reputation, was being accused by her closest group member. Bom wrote that her soul was crying and that she could no longer stay silent while living a lie. She argued that at the time of the incident, there wasn't even a specific law regarding Adderall in Korea, insinuating that the rules were bent or exaggerated to frame her. The internet, of course, immediately fractured into warring factions. On one side were the die-hard fans who had waited years to hear Bom's side, realizing that YG Entertainment's history of covering up scandals for male artists while letting female artists take the fall was a documented pattern. They pointed to the Burning Sun scandal and other controversies as proof that the agency was capable of manipulation. On the other side were netizens who couldn't get past Bom's recent history of erratic behavior. It's impossible to talk about these accusations without addressing the elephant in the room: Bom's recent mental health struggles and the weird erratic posts that preceded this letter. Just months before this explosion, she had posted an AI-generated document claiming she was suing YG Entertainment and Yang Hyun-suk for 4.5 quadrillion won, a number so astronomically absurd it reads like a parody. She had famously posted about actor Lee Min-ho, referring to him as her husband in ways that made everyone deeply uncomfortable. Because of these incidents, a huge swath of the public dismissed this new, earth-shattering accusation as another symptom of an unstable mind. Online forums were flooded with comments like, "Her symptoms are getting worse, is no one helping her?" and "This looks like schizophrenia." The tragedy is that her credibility was shredded before she even hit post, making it incredibly difficult for serious allegations against a major corporation to gain the traction they might have deserved. The response from the other side of the accusation was swift, but it only added more fuel to the the fire. A source close to Park Bom spoke to the media outlet Osen almost immediately, attributing the post to her unstable health condition. It was a standard damage control tactic, but it felt jarring. To have a serious allegation about a cover-up dismissed instantly as a mental health episode is a classic move in the entertainment industry playbook, but it left a bad taste in many mouths. One Twitter user famously commented, dismissing whatever she says by writing her off as mentally ill. Oh, a tale as old as time. It highlighted a disturbing catch-22. If she is unwell, she needs help, but does that automatically mean every word she speaks is a lie? Conversely, if she is telling the truth, the convenient label of unstable is the perfect shield for a powerful agency. Sandara Park, now no longer with Abyss Company, eventually broke her silence, and the tone was jarring to those who remembered their close bond. Her statement was brief and cutthroat. I have never used. I wish her well. In Korean, the nuance was even colder. Fans noted that she dropped the affectionate terms she usually used for Bom, referring to her not as a sister or a friend, but as a distant acquaintance. The finality of the statement was underscored by a digital cut. Sandara unfollowed Park Bom on Instagram almost instantly. For fans who had watched the two interact for over a decade, seeing the sisterhood severed so publicly was heartbreaking. It signaled that whatever bridge existed between them hadn't just been burned, it had been nuked. The unfollowing spree didn't stop there. Bom retaliated by unfollowing all her 2NE1 members, leaving only one person on her list, Lee Min-ho. It was a petulant, tragic move that screamed of isolation. As the chaos unfolded, people began digging into the past, trying to find cracks in the narrative. Sandara, usually the nation's little sister, found herself facing a resurfaced controversy from her own YouTube channel. It involved a story she told about dating a 14-year-old boy when she was 19, lying about her age to make the relationship seem acceptable. While old news to some, in the context of Bom's heavy accusations, it was weaponized by netizens to question Sandara's character. The logic was messy. If she lied about that, could she be hiding this? But for the most part, the public rallied behind Sandara. The consensus was that Bom's accusations, lacking concrete evidence and coming from a place of acknowledged instability, were too dangerous to be accepted at face value. The risk of destroying an innocent person's career over a potential delusion was too high. Yet, the whispers in the industry couldn't ignore the what-if. The theory that YG Entertainment would sacrifice one artist to save another isn't entirely far-fetched in an industry built on image management. 2NE1 was YG's crown jewel of girl groups. Sandara Park was the visual, the actress, the wholesome face of the brand. Park Bom was the power vocal, but she was also the quirky, unpredictable one. In a ruthless corporate calculus, who is easier to rehabilitate or hide? Or rather, who is easier to throw to the wolves? Bom's claim that a law regarding Adderall was strangely created or emphasized right after her case suggests a targeted hit. While there is no solid proof of this conspiracy, the mere plausibility of it keeps the debate alive. It forces us to look at the 2014 scandal not as a closed case, but as a potential crime scene where the victim might have been framed. Amidst the shouting match between fans and the cold silence of the agencies, the other 2NE1 members were caught in the crossfire. CL, the leader who had always championed the group, stayed completely silent, a move that spoke volumes. Minzy, who had left the group years earlier, posted a photo with Sandara and members of Winner and Icon, using the caption, "Family." It was interpreted as a subtle but clear show of support for Sandara, signaling where the loyalties lay in this fractured dynamic. The idea of a 2NE1 reunion, which fans had clamored for years, now seemed like a distant fantasy. The sisterhood that was marketed to us so heavily, the bond that supposedly survived disbandment and time, had crumbled under the weight of a single Instagram post.